Okay, so hello, this is Dr. Dickinson, and welcome to Instructional Technology Class Live Meeting. Today is December 20th. This is our second Class Live meeting. We're talking about best practices. I'll pull up the agenda here tonight. We're going to be looking at best practices, blogging, sharing personal stories, creating an emotional, cognitive, and behavior engagement in the classroom. We'll be looking at Common Core, some update and resources, and we'll be talking about your professional development presentation, which is your signature assignment. So tonight, we're actually starting out with a blog post I wrote on my blog, which you can access, teachingandlearningforteachers.blogspot.com. I wrote on my blog a post about the event in Newton, Connecticut, and just responded in terms of how my perception of the event. I really think as educators we're really at the front line for kind of addressing some of these problems and dealing with these issues in education. So I think it's important that we have a voice. And so read my comments and then respond. It could be anything related to the blog. It could be your own personal reaction to what happened in Newton, Connecticut. And then we'll just share a few minutes and just have an opportunity to talk about it. So you'll be looking at teaching and learning for teachers.blogspot.com. Hi. Okay, looks like Naomi joined. Thank you, Naomi. Great. It's great to have you here tonight. We are going to be, we're responding to my blog post on teaching and learning for teachers.blogspot.com. So you can enter a comment. It's on about violence in the classroom. Is there anyone else here tonight? I know we have Christy here tonight.
Are we able to hear?
yes.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering how this worked.
Well, you're doing a great job. This is a new tool I just learned myself tonight. So just feel free to come, talk anytime. You don't need to raise your hand.
So do you want us to respond to the blog?
Yeah, if you want to just put your comment and then just share what you wrote, and it could be about anything. It could be about what I spoke about or your own initial reaction. You could talk about, what happened at your school. What did you feel? How did this incident affect you?
Dr. Dickinson?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Is this...
Oh, good. Because it's been disconnecting for some reason. I keep it getting disconnected, but okay, I can hear you now.
Who's this?
This is Connie.
Oh, hi, Connie. Thanks for joining us tonight.
So just go ahead and comment on the blog, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and after you post your response, if you could click on the little chat window and enter your email address, as I will be sending you an invite to a Poplet.
Dr. Dickinson, where do we put in our email address?
If you could just put it on the chat inside the conference room code where you send a message. It's next to the telephone. There's a telephone, then there's a little circle.
Oh, in the Join Me page?
Uh-huh, that's right.
Oh. And it says let's talk, and where do I...
That's it. Mrs. Choi did. Is that you?
The little telephone emblem right there?
It's right next to it. To the right of it, right to the right of the telephone, you see a little chat. If you roll it over, it says chat.
Oh, it's that. Dr. Dickinson, do we have to open our Gmail or whatever email so we can check what's coming in?
For the Padlet?
Should we open another tab and have our email open?
I think once you log into Padlet, you should be able to. You'll get an email from them to join the Padlet that I'm going to send you. Looks like you're already on there. I'm adding you.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
You see my screen? See how I added you? So I'll just give you the link.
Thank you.
Yeah. Alright, so let's talk about, just real briefly, about the event and what came to mind or what you talked about. Just want to share. Christy? Christy said that she was really impacted because she's a first grade teacher. And she also believes as parents and teachers we need to be very proactive about these types of situations. We need to make sure that people that have needs are being sought help. I agree. I don't think these types of events are things that are just, in isolation. There's a series of signs that we as teachers need to know when we need to document, we need to record, we need to make sure that we're getting in touch with the school principal or the counselor, communicating. And, and if issues, I've had an issue as a teacher in a public school where I went to the school principal and they just blew it off. And I had to go over that person. I called the union because it was an issue that I felt was that severe, even though I was told by my principal, don't worry about it. So I think as teachers, we are mandated reporters. That's our job. And I think if you listen to your heart and you do the right thing, and you have the right intention, things will work out. It's unfortunate that this person did not get the type of help that he needed, and that so many people were affected by this incident. Other thoughts, Connie or Naomi?
Sorry, I'm still writing my comments on your blog. I just, when I heard about the incident, this is Connie, by the way, I had no idea, and then it was during lunchtime when the faculty, we were all watching the television, the news about what had happened, and then I had to go back to my sixth period, and one of my students asked, "Oh, Mrs. Choi, did you hear about what happened in Connecticut?" And I just broke down. I just started crying in front of my class. It was just like, it was crazy. I just couldn't hold myself. And we had a really good discussion about it, just talking about it for the next 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I think, and then I can see fear in some of the kids feeling, thinking like, could this happen to us? And it's just so strange that nowadays, like, we have to be thinking about our safety, like, on campus.
Absolutely.
Like, I was just commenting on your blog that, like, when I first thought about going into the teaching profession, I never thought that I would have to be, be concerned about my life coming into this profession. But I guess, it can happen anywhere, but it's just so strange that these things are happening and targeting, like, schools. I don't know.
I think it's a combination of factors, from the sensationalism of the media to, as you mentioned, targeting schools as a way for revenge, as a way to, hurt innocent people. And, it's unfortunate that, you go to the bank and there's a security guy outside.
Right.
Or you go to, an office building and there's security. You don't have security at schools, for the most part.
Yeah.
You probably have more security in an urban school in a downtown setting than you would at a, private, more affluent area.
Right.
I know when
I know our administrators at our school are really looking at the safety issues of the campus, and we had a security guard actually walk around the campus this week, just so that the kids would feel they wouldn't be so nervous. So that was like an immediate thing that they implemented, which was comforting, I guess.
Well, that's good to know that some action's being taken. Naomi, did you want to share?
Well, I really don't get really nervous and stuff easily, but I think this really put a damper on my week too. It really made me tear up when I heard the news. It was just very unfortunate. Somebody with more than having mental problems, even further than that, I just can't believe somebody can actually go to that extent. And just like Connie was saying, like, I would never thought that coming into the teaching profession that, we would experience that you fear for your life. And right now there's rumors going around at our high school about tomorrow that there's going to be gun violence, and they're not even thinking of canceling school. And, it's a short day tomorrow right before we leave for break.
Wow.
Or anything like that. And I'm upset about that. It's like, I'm nervous. It's like, I'm thinking of calling out sick, but then that doesn't look so good on my part either. So
right.
I don't know what to do.
That's pretty scary. I wish I could give you the answers. I definitely think that, there is power in numbers. So if you can, talk to your colleagues and get support from your colleagues and let the administration know that this is not something that you're going to stand for, and join forces with parents. And I think are you at a private school or public school?
A public school.
So you're at a public school. So, when I worked in public school, the union, I mean, they will support you 110%. So you need to make sure that you're taking advantage of the union and at least bringing it to their attention that these events are going on at your school site, because you pay union dues every month. So that's your entitlement in terms of, the membership is to make sure that your rights, your basic rights, which is, your right to live, your right to feel safe in a school, needs to be upheld.
Right.
And no, and
I think basically the worst. Sorry.
no, I was just.
Knowing that
Mm-hmm.
you have kids of your own, and it's just everything is just tumbling over, and I can just imagine what these parents are going through, and it's devastating.
It is devastating. I can't even imagine myself. I have two children. I have a 4-year-old and I have a son who's going to be starting kindergarten next year, and I'm thinking, well, maybe I'll just keep him home. But I don't think that we need to ignore the problem. I think we need to try to face it, and make some better choices instead of just hoping that it'll go away, because it's not going away. I mean, these types of problems have been going on since 1999 with the Columbine shooting, and it's just becoming progressively worse. And the more that we just stand on the side and say and do nothing, people are always going to try to one up, what's going to happen next. So I think as teachers, as new teachers, one thing I wrote about was, knowing how to advocate for yourselves. Knowing what you can do as a teacher. Like I said, if you see signs, you need to report it. You need to make sure that, you're letting people know. And if they're not listening to you, then you need to go and find some other community organizations, the school union, parents, advocates for you and for that child, because problems just don't go away. Okay, so thank you all for sharing. I know it's a really tough issue, but I think it's important that we talk about tough issues so we get comfortable voicing our opinions and just having an opportunity to really think about what's going on in our schools and what we need to do as teachers to advocate for ourselves and for our children. So we're going to look at some best practices. I hope you were all able to view the video this week lecture on best practices. And you've joined the Poplet. There was 3 indexes of engagement that we need to take into consideration when designing instructional technology. That's the emotional engagement, so that's letting our students know that we care about them, that they're being supported. The behavioral engagement, so are students following the rules, the procedures? Are they on task? Are they surfing to other websites? I know some of you talked about that in your post this week. How am I going to get my students to stay on task? And then the cognitive engagement. So how do we keep students cognitively engaged so that they are learning and not just being passive recipients of a YouTube video, but actually doing something that's meaningful? So I want you to add some ideas, thoughts, resources that you might have come across. Maybe it was in the lecture this week. And you will just click on the screen now that you're collaborators. Looks like Connie's online. You need to get online. You just click on the screen and you can draw a connection. So a resource I came across this week was called Quizlet. Has anyone heard of that?
No, I have it going and I see everything.
What's that?
I'm on the main page where it says best practices. What is it exactly that you want us to do?
Oh, on the Poplet, you're going to add your thoughts in terms of creating an emotional, cognitive, and behavioral engagement in using technology. So you can add some resources that you've come across that would help students with their emotional engagement or behavioral engagement. So for cognitive engagement, you might want to use Quizlet. You can have your students either create a study set for a specific topic. So I think, Naomi, you're teaching Spanish, right?
Right.
You can search for existing study sets. So here's a study set, and hopefully everyone can see my screen still. And they're flashcards that students can use to quiz themselves. So students can either create their own Quizlet. They can go through the flashcards. They can study. They can give themselves a test of the flashcards.
That's what I usually have my students do. You go on Quizlet.com
Oh, you have used it?
and do flashcards. Yeah. Yeah, I've used it before with the students. Or I have them do it, and then they can bring me the flashcards that they actually make.
How do you say absent? I can't remember. And then, so Naomi has used that. There's multiple choice questions. So they're creating their own. Or like I said, you could find a set. So maybe you're teaching, and here it is by, it could just be even, I know Christy, you're teaching first grade. It could be basic addition facts. And then they could play a game. Oops. I'm not sure how to play this game right here.
I have a question about the Quizlet.
Sure.
So if you assign this to the students, and let's say you don't do it in the classroom or in your computer lab, but have them do it at home, how do you, is there a way to know whether they did it or not? Like, is there, how do you know that they actually logged on and they created a quiz? Like, is there a classroom on Quizlet that you can create where they log in and the instructor can see it?
Well, there's a discussion over here, so you could have them log in and put a message here. So they'd have to create an account, and then they could say, spent 20 minutes on Quizlet.
Okay.
Or something like that. Or they could create their own set and then send it to you.
Okay.
They could send you the link. Any other ideas? Or I haven't used this too much. So they would take the basic test. There's written questions, and then multiple choice. All right. Anyone else come up with a site or tool that they can share? So I added Quizlet.
I added a wiki, maybe creating a wiki for my history class.
Can you tell us what wikis are and how we could use them?
I've never actually created one for my class before, but I've heard about it in another class, and I think you can also use it through access it through Google Docs. I think, I'm not sure, but I thought it would be a good idea so that kids can actually collaborate on like a unit, whether it be like creating an outline of like a historical topic or like definition terms, IDs in the history a good resource for students to use as a class together and to collaborate together.
Great, that sounds like a wonderful idea. So they could create an online report or something like that.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things that I've been wanting to try to do. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get to that.
I also like for emotional engagement is the Glogster. Did you see that example I shared with you?
No, I haven't seen that one, but I've heard about it.
So you teach history, right?
Yeah, I teach 11th grade U.S. history.
So students can make a virtual U.S. history poster.
Oh, this is great.
So it's a little bit more interactive, and some of the cool features of this is it can embed video, images, text. So here you see they have a video link. It'd be a good way if you're doing like having them maybe write an essay. It could be just a way for them to kind of do a pre-write, generate some ideas. Very visual, which is great for English language learners. So students, it's free, can create their own glog. I actually created a glog for, I think it was Unit 1. Alright, I'm just going to copy that. So we have Glogster. So again, it's about personalizing the learning experience. Oops. Okay, other thoughts or ideas?
I just added one on a website that's just a link to some games for behavior. With my first grade kids, anything with games engages them and keeps them on task. So I'm sure when they get into high school, it's a whole different story. But when they're 6 and it's an educational game, they're pretty focused.
Absolutely. I don't see the link that you shared.
I pressed it and now it's showing it on one screen, but when I click on my screen and go back to main, it's not on there. I'm not sure why. Just to add a comment, you click on the little bubble above your box. Is that how you do it?
You just double click on screen and it will open up a box.
Oh, I see.
Looks like, are people still, it looks like I got logged out.
Dr. Dickinson, I have a question about Facebook.
Uh-huh.
Your opinion about Facebook.
Yeah,
what do you think about, okay, so I have a lot of students because I teach high school, and I'm friends with them on Facebook. And I did create a group in Facebook for my A-Push class, my AP US History class, and it's been wonderful because we just chat on there, and or if they have questions about an assignment, then all the students can help each other, or if I'm not done, I'll answer the question. But I don't know, because I've heard like some teachers saying like
I have two separate Facebook accounts. One for students and one for personal.
Uh-huh.
So I think at this point, Facebook has, as long as you use this for your personal one, as many security as you can, so that people can't see pictures or anything personal, then it's fine. So I think it's about account management more than anything else. But I definitely agree with you that teachers have, especially teachers that don't use it or know about technology and how to integrate it, might have a lot more reservation in terms of using Facebook as a way to connect with your students. So I think it's more of a mindset than an issue. I mean, you obviously have to use your discretion. I wouldn't, put pictures of myself with a martini in my hand,
Right. Yeah.
But, so I would have two personal, unless you're just going to use your own. Do you have one account or two?
I have one account, but it's worked really well with my A-push kids, where they only do comments in the group. Um, it's worked fine so far, but I haven't. Honestly, I don't really post anything too much or make comments on my personal Facebook, so it's not like there's anything there to share.
Right. Well, I think it's just other people. Like if you have friends or a crazy ex-boyfriend or something that might post something on your wall. Like I've had my sister, who I love, God bless, post a picture of me like 15 years ago out with friends.
Okay. I see.
So
I think that's actually a good idea to have a separate account for students and then one for personal.
yeah, I would just lean on that side. Especially you're dealing with high school kids and
Yeah,
you might have somebody that has a crush on you and then he's emailing your boyfriend saying stay away from my teacher. I love her.
It's like you see like the good things that the kids do, but you also see like all the negative things that they do on Facebook, and it's so discouraging.
That's true. Yeah, I think that's also an issue. I also wanted to share with you, and thanks for asking. Oh, where is this website? It's called Ello, which is a site for learning English if you do work with English language learners. I think it's really good because it creates a cultural bridge for students that are learning language, second language acquisition. You can sort by country, topic, media. You have people from around the world speaking in different accents, talking about, you get to look in here for history. I don't know if they have anything on U.S. history. So it's another way for you to kind of scaffold instruction. And they have videos, audio, quizzes, and vocabulary. So different topics. So you want to go through here depending on the subject that you're watching, but it's oops, can't hear it that well. Current videos, culture, they're going to be relevant to students in their lives. Anyone working with English language learners?
I have international students from all over the world.
Oh, great.
Yeah, since we're a private school, we do allow them to come. I have about, I would say, 10 in the 6 periods that I teach, 6 sections that I teach. And
Wonderful.
some are more proficient than others, so this would be very helpful.
Wonderful.
Can you type in individual words and have them translated? Or just like video cast?
It's video and it's just video casts and podcasts by Topic Media. And they do have games for language acquisition. So I haven't seen.
We've been learning how to say Merry Christmas around the world in first grade.
Oh.
We have to learn how to say Merry Christmas in different languages.
That's fantastic.
I'm sure my pronunciation's not very good.
So if you're studying about going around the world, so you can have a video here about Vietnam. And then there's a reading quiz, a speaking quiz. And it's all audio cast.
From Hanoi, you can go to Ha Long Bay to visit the nature, to visit the ocean, and it is one of the greatest traveling destination in Vietnam.
Which is kind of nice because you get more of an authenticity.
Next, if you move a little bit, from Ho Chi Minh City, if you go a little bit to the north, you might want to visit Nha Trang because it's very, very beautiful city. It has a very long coastline, and then the beaches is just amazing. And you should try seafood as well because in Nha Trang they have plenty of seafood, and then it's very fresh because Nha Trang is famous.
Okay, so you get the idea.
Or even studying for us different cultures. It's good for little kids to see these other cultures out there in person. I mean.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's more authentic, in terms of learning about a culture and hearing somebody that's actually from that area, hearing their accent, speaking about places and foods and what they like to do, than just, reading about it in the textbook. So it's just another way to differentiate the instruction. And really, that's what we want to do with technology, is we want to differentiate what we're doing it. So it's a little bit more dynamic. Now, Christy, are you using Starfall?
I've used it a little bit before, but I'm glad you brought it back up because I haven't recently, and this would be a great resource for a student who's struggling in reading. I can email his mom over, but I have him use it. So.
Absolutely. So Starfall, I know not everybody's teaching elementary, but it's a fantastic site for phonemic awareness. You can click on a letter and hear a story about each letter with picture, sound, and then an association. So and then, of course, they also have stories on here. Reading stories as well. All right. Any questions about any of the sites or other things? I think when we look at... Yes, Naomi? Pardon me?
For the Starfall website, is it only in English?
It is only in English.
It's only in English, no other language?
No, but if you come across Starfall in Spanish, let me know. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, because something like this in Spanish would be really nice.
Let me know if you find something like this, because I do speak Spanish to my children, so it'd be great to have them.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It'd be great for them to have more exposure. It's kind of interesting. I mean, for me, even learning Spanish, watching Dora in Spanish, watching Plaza Sesamo. Because then you're hearing the conversation, but it's contextual. You're seeing where it's taking place, what's happening. And for my kids, Dora is very I don't know if I'm talking about a Dora the Explorer. It is very predictable in terms of what happens sequentially in Dora. In the first part of the story, there's a problem. Then they go to the map, and the map says 3 places that they need to go. And they show those 3 places. And they'll say, oh, la escuela, la biblioteca, mi casa. And then they repeat it. So there's a lot of repetition and practice. Escuela, biblioteca, casa. And it's very sing-songy. So my kids get engaged. And by the 3rd time that Dora's saying it, they're active, they're watching. And then throughout the storyline, they go to those 3 different places. And, things happen. Usually Zorro comes up. Zorro. Oh no! Swiper, Zorro. Swiper, no te los lleves. No te los lleves. And so they say it, they repeat it. It's predictable. And then at the end of the story, they always say, Lo hicimos. We did it. And they sing a song. So the kids really get into it. And again, it's that opportunity. It's context-based. There's visuals. It's entertaining because there's music, there's animated characters. They even throw some English in there if you watch the Spanish version of Dora. So they'll say words in English and Spanish. Most of the context is in Spanish. And then it's predictable, and so the kids have an opportunity to practice. That's how I learned Spanish. I mean, I took Spanish in high school, and I will tell you, I actually failed it twice. And it was when I started reading with my kids, I got a lot more confident. We were watching Dora, we were watching Plaza Sésamo, y ahora yo puedo hablar más mejor que pasado. Y también escuchar la música está más importante. Me gusta bailar, yo los clases de bailando, en la música es muy festivo y energético. So es más divertido. So necesita hacer un tiempo que es divertido, energético, música, los fotos. Brayden dice hola.
Hola.
Dice
It doesn't sound like potato.
When
Se me llamo es Brayden.
Nana's wedding
¿Cuántos años tienes?
for
Dile en español.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4.
Muy bien. Buenas noches, mi amor. So, you gotta make it fun for them. He's 4 years old. Okay. But if you do come up, we'll definitely want to share best resources with each other. And it would be great if they had a site like Starfall in Spanish. Okay, well, it is coming to the hour. Someone had posted a question on the Common Core. I want to share with you a resource that will help you in terms of the area that you teach. This is for the state of California. They have their professional development, which is brokers of expertise. So it's www. Can everyone still see my screen? Okay.
Yes.
myboe.org. And you will find resources for Common Core.
It's 9 o'clock.
California Content Standards, ELD development, and its videos, professional development online. You can join community groups. So you could just even search for Common Core.
Dr. Dickinson, at our high school, we haven't even started our transition for Common Core. Does that mean we're really behind?
Well, I mean, it's supposed to be rolling out 2014. So people are just getting familiar because the standards are different, especially in math. We're moving away from a very lattice approach to instruction where you get a little bit of each type of topic at each grade level. So instead of doing, geometry, fractions, number sense, algebra in first grade. You're going to get more of, the focus is more in depth. So in K through 5, you're going to have more in-depth focus on number sense. So it does impact the California state standards. People are focusing on what's to be expected. The resources are changed in terms of the testing. It's going to be an online test. There's going to be a performance-based assessment rather than just a multiple choice test. So there's some resources here on the Common Core, videos, and different modules that you can look at. I'm not going to have time to look at this too much, but if you're teaching English, for example, you can just look at this module here. It's important for you to get familiar with the Common Core. Did everyone see the Common Core State Standards webpage with the standards? Okay, great. I should add that to the doc sharing as well. So it talks about the organization and the structure. There's more of a focus on college and career readiness and an integration of technology as well. So each of these modules, you can do a pre and a post assessment, review some additional resources, and a self-evaluation. So that's myboe.org. Alright, any questions on that? I know that was kind of quick, but hopefully you'll have time to explore that. Okay, professional development presentations. Have you started thinking about what you want to present on? Because this is your signature assignment.
I haven't thought of anything yet.
So basically you want to take one focus area based on your resources at your school site. So if you only have access to the internet and websites, then you might want to just do a web tool or a web resource that you could present at your school site. So let's say, Naomi, you want to do it on Proplet because you want something that is going to be appealing to all the teachers at your school, something that you can show how you can use it in different instructional ways, and you'd want to demonstrate how to use this tool. You want to have some examples that you've created that you can share with the teachers, and then you want to have an opportunity for them to go and practice. So it's kind of that I do it, you do it, and then we do it together. So the first thing you'd want to focus on is what resources do I have available. Second, you would design your presentation. Now, your presentation could be a combination of, a PowerPoint, some web pages. It could include a video that you found, and it could include, some type of interaction where the teachers are interacting with the technology. Now, several people talked about having smartboards at their school, but not really having enough time to really explore the tool and see what capabilities it has. So that could be the focus of your presentation. You could take a tool like the smartboard, talk about different ways that you could use it in the classroom, demonstrate it, show it as a professional, show it to your teachers, then have them do something with it, even if it's just coming up to the smartboard and working on a template. Or maybe you want to teach them how to design a template. So when you design a professional development, you want to ask yourself, is this something that my teachers are going to want to be able to go in the classroom the next day and use? So make sure it's something that they can take with them into their classroom experience, and not just something that's going to be at the knowledge level, but more at the application level. Any questions about that?
When you say film them using it, Do you mean during the presentation or later on?
I'm sorry, could you repeat your question?
Yes, for the presentation you said we should have a recording of teachers interacting with the program.
Oh, no, you don't have to record it.
Oh, no recording. Okay.
No, I said you can use different formats in terms of your presentation. You could include a video. You know, if you wanted to show a YouTube video, or I really like the teaching channel. I don't know if you've seen that. I think I've shown a couple videos from the teaching channel. So you might have a video from the teaching channel of a teacher using, you know, hands-on manipulatives or something like that. So you can use different formats in your presentation, but really you should just focus on one tool. So you might want to just do your presentation on how would you use Starfall. And then you would show the teachers how to use the tool. And then maybe you would demonstrate how you might help them in terms of monitoring using that tool. So what are some things they could do? Maybe they could have like a running record where the kids record, you know, which letters they went on, which letters they completed, and how long it took them, or something like that. So you would want to make sure that whatever tool you're demonstrating, you're giving them some strategies for using it in the classroom as well.
So for something like that, I wouldn't present necessarily to all the staff, because that would only pertain to lower elementary. Could I have a presentation to just lower elementary, or does it still need to be to everybody?
Well, I mean, you could do a grade level meeting.
Okay.
So if you want to do like K3, that's fine. Yeah, you could do, you know, I mean, even if you say, hey, I can't get professional development time at my site, could I just maybe have a meeting after my class and invite, 5 teachers over? That's fine. You want to also make sure that you're collecting some data, because your final paper is going to be a self-report. So you want to use a tool like SurveyMonkey. Has anyone used SurveyMonkey before?
No.
So SurveyMonkey is just a tool where you would create questions. I can sign in. And you could send a link. Now I just have to remember my username. And it would show, say I have all these surveys. So I did a survey in my last class. I designed the questions, I wrote all the questions. Then I sent the link to my students. And then after, I think there was like 8 students, and this was their responses. So it analyzes the response. So then you would use the data in your final report. So you probably want to have maybe about 6 questions, and this tool is very open-ended. You can create multiple choice questions. So here I said, which of the following web tools would you be likely to use as a teacher? And so I entered all these choices. Okay. And then you can also ask, some open-ended questions. So how did online tools impact your learning experience? And they click positively, then they would enter what they said. Oh, I like this because so they can enter some qualitative data. Now remember, this is a project that you can also work with another person from the course. So if you want to collaborate with somebody, even if you work at 2 different schools, you could create the presentation together and then present it at your school sites, and you could submit the presentation. All right. any questions on the presentation or anything else that we talked about tonight?
Did you say that you moved the due date for this?
That was
What I heard, the due date for this presentation?
the due date that I moved was for the lesson design.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
And the analysis, I believe I moved it to like the 6th of January. So I gave you an extra week or so because of the holiday break.
Cool.
But unfortunately, I can't move this when our course ends, I believe, in January. Or if you haven't viewed the lectures, I strongly recommend to view the lectures on the course website because I cover several web tools that would give you an overview of how to use each of the web tools. All right, well, it is past the hour. If you have any other questions or want to talk about something, I'll be on the line for a few more minutes. Otherwise, feel free to send me an email.
Question.
Sure.
I'm trying to speak clearly on this professional development project.
Mm-hmm.
You want it recorded, videotaped somehow? Is that what you want me to do, or just
No.
collect data on what happened?
What you're going to do is you're going to submit your presentation to me.
Okay.
So if you go on the website, you'll see 3 examples, actually this week, of presentations that I've actually done. You don't need to do a voice recording of the presentation, if that's what you're saying.
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted proof that we collaborated with other coworkers.
Oh, well, I know that everyone doesn't work at the same school sites, so if you are not able to collaborate with somebody, you can work on the project by yourself.
Uh-huh.
So you can create a presentation and then you'd submit that to the Dropbox.
Okay. Okay, I think I was understanding differently. Like, we had to collaborate with the other teachers at our school and present it to them.
Oh, you have to present it to your school, the presentation.
Oh, okay.
Your presentation, because one of the requirements is for you to collect feedback from them on the presentation.
Okay.
So you'll demonstrate one specific tool. It could be a smartboard or web tool, an internet site, how they could implement it in the classroom. You'd create a presentation for the teachers. You would submit this presentation for assignment 6. While you're delivering the presentation, at the end of your presentation, you need to give your teachers a survey.
Okay.
To collect feedback, because in the last week, your assignment is to write a reflection on your presentation based on the survey results.
Okay, makes more sense.
Okay?
Yeah, it's just that I think that's the week we have final exams. And I think most of our teachers are, it's really hard to collaborate. I don't know how to explain it, but at our school, a lot of teachers don't really collaborate with each other. Everybody's in their own world. And
that's too bad.
Is that okay?
Well, we try to change the culture at our school site. I mean, you could even, have a little cake, invite 4 or 5 teachers over to your classroom for lunch while they're having the cake that you brought or snacks. They can watch you do the presentation. I mean, there's half hour. It's plenty of time to present on the tool, collect their feedback. Or if you don't have time to give them feedback, send them a web link. Although I find that if you don't do it then, you might not get it ever. So there's some flexibility.
Feedback has to be on the web link, or can it be just a piece of paper and then we collect the data?
Yeah, you could do that too. You could do a piece of paper, a survey, a traditional paper and pencil survey.
Okay.
All right.
Dr. Dickinson?
Uh-huh.
2 quick questions. With assignment 2.2, there's a link to a lesson plan design form. Next to my link, it says not in File Manager. Is there another place to find your lesson plan template?
I think it's in the doc sharing.
Yeah, it's in the doc sharing. Okay.
For week 2, lesson plan design. Do you see it on my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay.
All right. Well, have a wonderful Christmas. Any other questions?
I was just going to clarify for email.
Pardon me?
Are you going to be available the next couple weeks?
Oh, yeah. I'll be available on email. I mean, the campus is officially closed, but if you want to send me an email, I will be checking the course homepage. So if you have questions, you can put it on the virtual office. I check that. I try to get on there, every 24 hours. And I'll check that there and answer any of your questions.
Because I'm going to be out of the country for 2 weeks. I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm actually going back home for Christmas. But I'll be back on the 7th. I'm going to see if I'm going to have internet access to actually turn my assignment in. See if I can get that done.
Oh, okay.
I might be out in some ranch. I don't know yet.
I hear ya. Well, just send me an email and let me know. And enjoy your vacation.
Okay, you too. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a happy holiday.
Okay.
Thank you.
Happy holidays to you too. Bye.
Bye.